Her father was also her grandfather, and no one stopped it. You were never supposed to hear these stories. They were buried in medical archives, locked in court records sealed for the family's protection, scrubbed from local newspapers. But the truth has a way of clawing its way back to the surface. This is not folklore. This is not some grotesque fairy tale. This is America, right now, and in its forgotten corners, in its isolated hollows, in homes with too many locked doors, there are women who carry the weight of bloodlines turned inward. Take Gracie Whittaker, born in 1920 in a town called Odd, West Virginia, a name that should have been a warning. Her parents were first cousins. Their parents, twin brothers. That means Gracie's DNA was already folding in on itself at birth. But it didn't stop there. She married her double cousin, a man whose genes were nearly identical to hers. 15 children. Most never spoke. Some never learned to walk. Their faces uneven, their eyes drifting, their mouths slack. The locals called them touched. But the truth was far darker. This was generational collapse. A family tree that had become a noose. And Gracie, she lived her entire life in that house, died in that house, left behind a legacy of silence. But here's what they don't tell you. This wasn't an accident. Isolation breeds more than loneliness. It breeds control. When a bloodline stays closed, when the world is kept out, who notices if the rules start to bend? Who intervenes when the unthinkable becomes tradition? This is the first truth. The one they don't teach in schools. Some families aren't families, they're experiments. And the women, they're the ones who pay the price. Before we go deeper, comment "Blood Knows" twice below. Not for the algorithm, not for me, for you, to prove you're ready to hear what comes next. Because this is only the beginning. Lorene Whittaker never spoke a word, not because she chose silence, but because her blood chose it for her. Born in the 1940s to Gracie and John, double cousins, remember? Lorene was a genetic echo, a face that mirrored her mother's, but with something missing. Her eyes didn't track, her hands fluttered like trapped birds. She never learned to read, never held a conversation. The locals called her simple. But the truth? She was a warning. When DNA folds in on itself too many times, the body starts to erase itself. Muscles weaken, the mind unspools. Lorene wasn't slow. She was a living testament to what happens when a bloodline refuses to open. And here's the darkest part. No one came for her. Not the doctors, not the state. In those Appalachian hollows, families like the Whittakers were left to their own devices, because it was easier to look away than to admit what was happening behind closed doors. But this isn't just history. It's pattern. From the Hutterite colonies of South Dakota to the bayous of Louisiana, there are places in this country where the rules are different. Where marriage isn't about love, it's about control, keeping the blood pure, keeping the wealth contained. And the women, they're the collateral. Comment, "Blood knows," again if you're starting to see the pattern. Because the rabbit hole goes deeper. Rita was born in a hidden room. Her mother, a teenager. Her father, also her grandfather. When the doctors ran the tests, the results weren't just alarming, they were impossible. Massive blocks of identical DNA, the kind only seen when the same blood circles back too many times. Rita never spoke, couldn't walk without help. By 4, she'd had 2 surgeries just to stay alive. And her parents? Prison. But here's the question no one asks. How many Ritas are out there right now? Not in some remote village, not in the past, in your state, in your city, behind closed doors in neighborhoods you'd never suspect. Because this isn't about poverty or ignorance, it's about power. When a family controls its own bloodline, it controls its secrets, its legacy, its future. And anyone born into that system, they're not people, they're pawns. You still with me? Good. Because the next truth is the one that will haunt you. Maria was born with a face that told her family's secrets. The Hutterites called it God's mark. The doctors called it Treacher-Collins syndrome. A twisting of bones, a collapsing of features. But the truth? It was the price of purity. For generations, the colony married within itself, second cousins, third cousins, always close enough to keep the bloodlines clean. But nature doesn't reward isolation, it punishes it. Maria's jaw was recessed, her ears malformed, yet her mind, razor sharp, a cruel joke, trapped in a body that betrayed her, with a mind that understood exactly what had been done to her. The most terrifying part? They didn't see it as a tragedy. To the colony, she was simply one of the afflicted, a living testament to their devotion. A necessary sacrifice to keep their bloodline untainted by the outside world. Voice drops to a whisper. Ask yourself, how many other closed societies are making these same calculations right now? Cut to static. The records are missing. The birth certificates, sealed. The medical reports, classified for privacy. The graves, unmarked. This wasn't an oversight, it was a system. Because when the powerful intermarry, when judges, politicians, and doctors share the same last names, who exactly is going to blow the whistle? Sound. A gavel bangs once. They call it protecting families. We call it a conspiracy of blood. The records are missing. The birth certificates, sealed. The medical reports, classified for privacy. The graves, unmarked. This wasn't an oversight, it was a system. Because when the powerful intermarry, when judges, politicians, and doctors share the same last names, who exactly is going to blow the whistle? Sound. A gavel bangs once. They call it protecting families. We call it a conspiracy of blood. This isn't about judging the past. This is about the children being born right now in locked rooms and remote compounds. The ones who will never speak, never walk, never know a world beyond their genetic prison. You've heard the stories. You've seen the pattern. Now ask yourself, who stands to benefit from keeping these bloodlines closed? The answer will change how you see everything. Sound. The match burns out. Final text on black screen. Some legacies aren't inherited. They're inflicted.